Welcome to Open Tech Talks.tv. Today we have a guest speaker with us, Emily McSherry. Welcome to the Open Tech Talks.
Thank you. Excited to be here today.
Thank you, Emily. Now, for listeners, if you can give us a brief intro, where are you based and what are you doing?
Yes, I currently live in Austin, Texas, moved here about a year ago, and I am the founder and CEO of Advise. We are a career platform that helps students learn about careers effectively through short form informational interview content on video. And so we partner with universities and create custom branded alumni content libraries and then partner with them to get into the coaching sessions, get into the classroom to help students really hear real stories from real people so they can make better career decisions with more confidence.
Okay, so what brought you to Advise? Even before starting Advise, what you were doing, some background?
Yeah, so my professional background, I did go to I had a pretty classic college education. So I went to the University of Arizona, double business major, and then kind of through that whole process of growing up in a really small town and being really successful in school, I was still lost and confused about my career, which I thought was weird, right? I had to work. I felt like I worked really, really hard and it was still really confusing about what I wanted to do. And then I spent about 7 years in the recruitment industry. I moved out to Los Angeles. So I spent time doing sales, basically calling senior executives at Fortune 500 companies to sell and consult to talent. So I learned a lot about work and careers and what people did. And then I got into training. So then I was a sales trainer in the recruitment industry. And so I trained hundreds of recruiters how to go on LinkedIn, how to talk to people, and how to really learn what careers were really fast so they could have these conversations. And that's kind of when the light bulb went off in my head. I had this idea of, wow, what if students could talk to professionals and create this type of
Mm-hmm.
network because they would probably choose different careers. And then when I realized in business school at UCLA, as part of our capstone project, we were just kind of tossing around
Mm-hmm.
ideas. And I did more research and found that almost 80% of students aren't having a live conversation with a current professional or a coffee chat. That's kind of when this idea went off for
Mm-hmm.
video and the fact that we could scale information and insights really quickly. And it could really change how people research jobs. And also, people could give back, almost kind of like in a podcast scenario. 30 minutes could help tons of students. And that's really
Mm-hmm.
where things took off. And I've been doing it full time since graduating.
And how long it is?
Yeah, it's been a little over 2 years at this point.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And how is the experience till now with the 2 years? The response, the validation, taking on board some initial students. What was that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I think we could talk about that for hours, but I'll keep it brief in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the traction and what we're seeing, right? So, and I know for the audience here, right? I think entrepreneurial learnings are probably interesting. So, a very basic but important concept we learned in business school was don't go spend a ton of money to build what you think needs to be built, right? You need to build a minimum
Yeah.
viable product. So that's what we did. I built in school in the first year I mostly built an MVP by myself with no technical background, right? And so my whole goal the first year was let's get universities paying for this. Like let's prove someone's going to pay for this first version. And so that took a whole academic cycle, just finished last July. So we just finished our first year of our paying partners, which we were able to get 5 paying universities in our first year for our early partners, which was really awesome. They're all repeating buyers after this year. So that's a really good sign. We have complete, 100% return rate. Most are signing multi-year agreements as well. And yeah, we've pretty much doubled our paying clients going into our second year so far. And we anticipate to go from about 5 to maybe 20 paying universities. And then we're also coming out with a freemium model to get to as many universities and having as many students using us as possible this coming year. So yeah, definitely seeing traction, but we're in that growth stage where we're working to grow a lot faster. And education's been hit pretty hard this year, so it's a bit of a tough market. So we're getting a little creative with how to grow, but seeing those
Okay.
sorts of metrics for success.
Right. So while there are so many these training platforms and learning management systems and all that, so what is unique with the advice platform?
Yeah, I would say the most unique thing is we take a really basic concept
Mm-hmm.
and focus on real, authentic information from real people, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
using generative AI. We're not typing things into ChatGPT and scouring the
Mm-hmm.
internet to provide text. We're providing video information that is very valuable and very authentic, right? It's if they, there's different benefits to just the information itself that aren't other places. And we also have the largest collection of curated career interview content to exist on the internet that I've been
Mm-hmm.
able to find. So we have over 10,000 videos. So we have this really unique data set and expanding library. So I'd say that's one thing. I would say the other thing that makes it unique is our ability to create custom content for schools and for companies. So, for example, we work with Arizona State University, their business school, and we've created 600 videos of only their alum for their own students. So we have like a really customized way to work with us. And I would say, like, kind of circling back to the AI topic, the way that we're really using it in our platform is kind of like a Netflix recommendation system. So we don't
Okay.
want to create fake videos. We don't want any, like, we're not planning to do generative content. What we do is we run words and traction or history
Mm-hmm.
to recommend content and get students to
Mm-hmm.
the right information faster, because one thing we've realized is we're in this overwhelming information age and students feel overwhelmed. So we don't necessarily need it to create new stuff. We use it to get them to the right content and lower that overwhelm or help them come to a decision faster. Like, what don't I want to do? And then helping them check that off and feeling like they're taking a step forward.
Okay. And who helped to create this recommendation engine and AI and all the platform? Did you hire a team or did you just outsource somewhere or how is it was it done?
Yeah, at first, after the MVP stage and I started having some revenue, I did hire a contractor just to kind of help out, because
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing is not so technologically advanced that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to necessarily pay someone full time, right? That didn't go so great, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I kind of went on this journey to find my now business partner and CTO who handles all of our stuff.
Okay. So now you spend whole career in career counseling, advising, and recruitment. So maybe from a student's point of view, what are the three career mistakes usually students make and any recommendation how they can avoid them?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, especially now, it's getting harder. I mean, the unemployment rate out of college is 7.4% right now, which is very high. And so I think students who wait too long to take action are making a really big mistake, right? Like, degree does not equal job, especially in the US where things are extremely competitive. So then it's like, yeah, that's kind of scary and overwhelming, but what do they do about it, right? So I think one, engaging your career center teams at your university too late is a major mistake. Those people are literally getting paid to help you and they know what the jobs are. They have all the advice and all the resources. Use your resources, right? Like advise us at universities, but it's not like you can reach every student super easily. Students kind of need to go seek it themselves. The second thing I would say is to not take action. I think students get really paralyzed, and also adults too, right? When you know something's not working, you don't feel right, you might be a little depressed because of it, whatever. And so I think a lot of people shut down instead of taking some action, because if you take some action, even if it's the wrong action, at least it gives you some feedback, right? To tell you, okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't like that. And as a student, you need experience. So I think like waiting too late to take action and get some hands on experience is like a second biggest mistake. And then the third mistake I would say is people aren't doing career research. I mean, I know there hasn't been something like Advise in the past. And so research has really been through limited factors, right? It's been through what your friends are doing, what your teacher might think you want to do who maybe doesn't have a career themselves. It might be your career coach who works with maybe limited companies who come on campus and they haven't really been in the workforce for a while. Or your parents who say, I come from this culture. I think you need to be a doctor, and that's the only thing you can do. So there are so many things you can do. And that's really why I'm very passionate about Advise, because if people took the time to do some more research and really figure out what they don't like or what they do like, then it kind of sets up your whole life on a different trajectory. And so it's
Hmm.
never too early to start like talking to people and doing research and start having ideas about what you want to do so you can make a better plan and have more confidence even choosing your classes or choosing where you want to live. And because all of those things do matter and impact your whole life.
Excellent. And based on last 2 years' work, what was the feedback while working directly with the students? While you're preparing these very practical videos and students are going through it, so what was the feedback generally? Is it helping them or is it just another course?
Yeah, the feedback we've gotten is really positive from the students.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the one metric we've been able to measure is when students watch on our platform, they increase their career confidence and learning by over 35% just in a couple of minutes, which is really impactful. So that's like the one learning outcome we've been able to have. Some other feedback that's been positive and validating with the video is hearing students say, "Hey, like I watched Emily's video. She's like me. I actually didn't think about that career, but now I'm interested in it." So there's a lot of learning and feedback on, hey, I didn't think of this way. And there's also there's senior level student feedback, even at the MBA level, saying,
Hmm.
I thought I wanted to go into consulting or I thought I wanted to go into product management, but I realized I didn't know what it actually was. I just knew it's something that I
Hmm.
wanted to do. So we're seeing a lot of that feedback. Um, it's different than a course because it's not, being necessarily forced down their throat, right? It's a very like exploratory
Hmm.
course, which comes with pros and cons. We do see the most effective feature in terms of engagement with the tool is when we
Hmm.
are embedded into the classroom because that's what students are used to. And the
Hmm.
teacher saying, hey, we have this assignment. We want you to watch 20 minutes on Advise. You can go explore whatever you want and do these reflection questions. And when we do that, we definitely get better feedback, more response, and more use. And now we're trying to crack the code on longer engagement when we're not being used in the classroom, right? We see students learn really fast, but we don't see them coming back time and time again and again over a longer period of time. So that's a little bit of that's the feedback that we've built into a new experience that we're building where it unlocks different parts of your journey and it's like more of a checklist and helps them figure out, okay, I watched this, so what?
Hmm.
So that's the one thing we're working on outside of
Okay.
the classroom regarding the technology.
Now, maybe from a student's point of view, as they are new and with these all Gen AI and AI, so any suggestions or recommendations for preparing for them CVs or resume? What could be the best way for our students which they just starting career, they don't know anything, right? And they have some typical format to prepare it.
Yeah, I think that whole space is getting shaken up right now because there are these companies that are creating AI resume builders. So I think it's actually making it more, I don't know, confusing because I'm actually seeing a flood in the recruitment market where volume and good looking resumes are at an all time high. But that doesn't mean
Right.
that the matches are at an all time high. So I do think it makes zero excuse for a student to have a bad resume. No. So I think if it's bad, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb, and there's so many technologies at your disposal. I have some, founder friends who are doing a really great job with AI agents, and selling these tools to schools to not only help with interview prep, but help them write better bullets for their resumes, and I think those tools are really, really great, and then every school has, like, their own resume template, so again, use your resources, it's right in front of you, so I would say more than ever, you gotta have a good resume. And I would say the last thing I was just at a conference at USC with, I don't know, maybe 100 university career leaders, right, talking about AI a lot because that's what we like to talk about today.
Right.
And they were saying their biggest thing is they still want their students to write cover letters, but don't, if you just put a job description into a cover letter, they're all going to sound into AI for a cover letter. They're all going to sound the same. So you do want to make sure that you just don't come across as like, oh yeah, I really put this into AI. Like use it, but definitely proofread it. Otherwise, you're just not going to get the interview.
Right. Okay. Maybe someone listening from the audience as a they are students and lead their career. What could be your three piece of advices for interviews preparation?
Yeah, for interview preparation, I would say, I guess we'll assume it's someone who maybe doesn't have a ton of experience
Yeah.
interviewing. I would
Yeah.
say the one mistake that I made is I thought, well, I'm really smart. I have a lot to offer. I'm just going to go in there and wing it. Don't do that. Like practice. Also, as a former sales trainer, it really helps to talk things out loud or even at a computer. Just kind of like practice before you go in so you don't have all that anxiety and fear because you don't get that many interviews necessarily. So it's good to practice and feel ready to go before you get in, and practice builds your confidence. So, one, I would just like actually practice out loud with a career coach, yourself, someone. The
Okay.
second thing I would really think of are I would prepare stories and results based evidence of how you did something. So I know like the STAR method is very common, right? Talk about the situation, what you did, the action you took, and then the result. And I used to think that was dumb, but now I get it. People want to understand what kind of impact you're going to have on your business, and they want to know, what you bring to the table, which kind of brings me to my third recommendation for success, which is I want you to put yourself in their shoes, right? Like I want you to put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes or the recruiter's shoes. And just remember that at the end of the day, they want to look good, right? They want to not take a risky hire, which if you put yourself in their shoes, like what does risky mean? Well, risky means, oh, well, they didn't have this experience, or they didn't look happy, they didn't feel excited, or they didn't come in prepared. Like they're looking for ways to feel good about the decision they're making. So the more you can do on your resume and explain to them and prove through your own personal branding, the better. And also remembering they're a human. So if you're talking to someone at like 4 p.m. and they just talked to 10 people, take that into consideration and like how you would be feeling. And you can even make a comment about it like, oh, thanks so much. I know it's the end of your day, but I'm really excited to talk to you. Uh, and maybe I'll give you a fourth one, which is even if you're not sure about the job, act like you would walk through the wall to get that job. Because if you don't act excited or interested, then you're an immediate pass. And you can
Mhm.
always, I would say, you don't know if something's going to be a fit for you. So don't like overly judge it too hard and don't have that written on your face because it really won't do you any good.
Okay. So maybe let's bring back to the AI and Gen AI last 2 years and
Uh-huh.
everything, all the assignments, students, universities, every jobs is being disrupted. So what is the
Yeah.
one piece of career advice maybe you wish someone had given you at 22?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I did get this advice that I still tell people, which is I think the one thing that's never going to go away no matter like what comes out is people hire people. You need relationships to move forward in any sort of business, startup, job. At the end of the day, you need to have relationships. So I think that authentic people connection no matter what comes out is going to be critical. So building that skill and building your network is really important. I think personally, the advice that I wish I had gotten was I think like you can do so many different things and like don't put so much pressure on yourself. I did not like the advice. I really hated when people would tell me, "Oh, your first job doesn't matter, just go get one," because to me that was like, "What are you talking about?" Like it really does matter. And it does, but like life, I guess it's longer than you realize and you want to pick somewhere where maybe it's not perfect, but it can help you get to your next step. I think so many students are trying to get this perfect job that doesn't exist. I'm on Reddit all the time making comments to, students and stuff like that and promoting advice kind of, proactively and stuff like that. And some kids are on there, where can I get $100,000 job, work, have complete flexibility, this, and this. And I think this influencer culture has put all these crazy ideas in a kid's head where they don't think they have to work. And like you do, maybe you can become an influencer someday, but also I don't know, stepping stones, right? You're not just going to be that end result. Like a lot of people that you're looking at have had a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't realize. So that first job can be a stepping stone and you want to make sure like it has enough of the things that you want to build long term in it. But it's okay if it's not perfect
And I
and
think
get
you
the
very
best
well.
relationships out of it that you can because
y-
I'm friends with all my old coworkers, right? When I
Mm,
started
mm,
Advise, those are the
mm,
people I could like lean on. They've helped open up
mm.
business deals.
mm.
So definitely wherever you go, whether it's school and in your first job, you want those relationships being built.
Yeah, and you brought a very well point. This influencer culture. So let's maybe that's a link to a question. How is Gen Z approaching these careers differently than previous generations, or what? And how we started back in.
Yeah, well, I think access is completely different. My
Mm-hmm,
mom used to tell me when she was applying to college classes, she would have to stand in line for 4 hours to fill out a bubble sheet, right? So,
mm-hmm.
kind of the same things happening with jobs where we have so much awareness of all the things out there, which is amazing, but I think that can make it also overwhelming. But at the same time, that's what we're doing at Advise, right? Is we're educating about careers on video, but we're just making it more like authentic content about what normal people do in normal jobs, plus the entrepreneurs and things like that, but not so much like, oh, get rich fast, $100 million in ARR, or make 100K this month. So I do think that is the one trend that has made what we're doing possible, and that we're actually like promoting and seeing work is, okay, well, I could actually hear from 100 people in 30 minutes with Advise, just throwing out numbers there. I
Yeah.
would say what could take you 25 hours to talk to 10 people, you can do on our platform in 5 minutes, which is really powerful and exciting because
Mm-hmm,
maybe you don't feel so limited, or maybe you feel really validated by hearing a couple people in a new industry like healthcare that you never thought of. And all of a sudden it's opened up your world. So I think that's like the really positive side of this is having more awareness of what's possible and more education of what's possible through video and social media.
okay. Now, for you as a starting last 2 years, so is there anything comes in your mind that okay, what one thing you wish you know before starting this advice, your platform?
Yeah, I think I guess one lesson I've learned that if someone
Mm-hmm,
told me before it'd be helpful would be that it's a big mindset and emotional game more than even skill and ability, because I feel like over time, if your mind and your emotions and your kind of like energy about you and the business is not correct, then you're almost forcing everything and you're operating out of fear. And people don't want to buy that. People don't want to buy
mm-hmm,
from that kind of person. But
mm-hmm,
it's really hard to get out of that because at the beginning, you don't have any evidence,
mm-hmm,
right? You don't have any traction. You don't have these things. So it's really easy to fall into that like fear or scarcity mindset. So I think if I had realized that a little bit earlier, I probably would have, felt and enjoyed it a little bit more at the beginning. That'd probably be one thing that comes to mind. The second would be it takes longer than you probably think, but that doesn't mean you can't try to do things fast.
right, right. So maybe linking back to as you're working with universities and directly with students. So in your discussion, so how's the situation with the Gen AI impact on the education and to the students, or how what the professors or teachers are feeling, whatever you they're sharing with you?
Yeah, what I'm hearing, for example, at this conference that I was just at, it seems very like a mixed bag.
Hmm.
You have some
Okay.
professors that are really teaching it, integrating it, and then you have some that are saying if you use AI, you're cheating and I'm going to fail you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this kind of shows something that I think is broken with academia, which is really matching what's going on in the classroom with what's really
Hmm.
needed in the real world.
Hmm.
I, for example, I asked all these career coaches on the resumes if they are recommending students actually put how they use AI to do work. And
Hmm.
they're saying, no, not quite yet. We really just put it as like in the interest area. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I use AI every hour of my workflow now, right? So if I were going back out in the job market, I would probably be putting bullet points like used fireflies to create an entire sales operations process that increased efficiency by this many hours, right? Like I would talk about how I use it in my workflow now, but it was interesting to hear that that's not necessarily the norm yet. And
Hmm.
I think another topic for discussion is the universities are trying to figure out how to teach AI
True.
to the students. But I was even at a school who I won't name. They were saying, well, if we want to get that in the classroom, it's going to take 2 years. In
Hmm.
2 years, what is this going to, so there's a lot of, I think, confusion and stress going on, but a mixed bag. There's like some fans and some people who are a little bit more old school. And that makes sense with the new technology to
Okay.
me.
Before we conclude today, maybe let's couple of two questions. One is from authenticity, as your platform is bringing authentic voices, practical experience, actual persons. Now, with Gen AI, where videos are being created, all these influencer type of and avatars and Gen AI created videos, have you started noticing that yes, people are giving weightage to the authentic voices?
Yeah, people are, I would say like the generative video content I've seen is like really interesting, right? Could even be addicting depending on kind of like what is being created.
Hmm.
But I think what we're seeing with the students and what they appreciate is this is like, I could actually see myself being this real person. I think there's a lot of, I think the generative AI in the job space is creating mistrust, right? If I'm interested at working in a company, I would love to see a couple people and I would like to see the leadership talking about their day, not the leadership's bot. I don't really get as much of a vibe. I would say though, the one thing that we've explored that we've gotten positive feedback for is okay, well, how can we use Gen AI to prepare people for a real conversation? One idea that we have that we haven't rolled out yet, but we could create the best consultant interview video bot
Hmm.
probably out there because we
Hmm.
have hundreds of videos of real consultants talking about their job.
Hmm.
So if we could create a training scenario or a learning scenario where a student could talk to this generative bot that's been
But
trained by real people, now that's pretty interesting before they go talk to the real person. That's a little bit of a tangent there, but that is the one way we're thinking about drawing the connection to the two because we don't I think my fear with AI and a lot of people in the education space is it goes so far that we lose the human. And
hmm.
so we're always thinking about how can we use the technology to foster the real and teach how to have these real conversations. Because again, at the end of the day, I think people hire people. So it's a skill that students are getting worse at, but need more help with. And I think this is like one way we can kind of bridge that gap using the new technology to keep that alive.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for spending time. So if someone wants to reach out to you, or maybe he or she is interested to join your video program or platform, so what is the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go to our website at advisehub.com. That's advise with a Z and then hub.com. I'd recommend following us on LinkedIn to kind of stay in touch. And then also our content, we have a free version. So you can go check out our video content, kind of like a YouTube, anytime for career advice.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Emily, for joining Open Tech Talks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kashif.